Soaring diesel costs amid the war with Iran. What does that mean for all of our groceries? We have Dan Varroney. He's an economic strategist and author of Rethinking Economic Growth. Dan, thank you for joining us.
A pleasure to be with you, and happy Monday.
Happy Monday. So can you tell us the outlook for things like meat, vegetables, fruit prices?
So great question, but let's look at where we are. So we're currently experiencing a global energy price shock, and we've seen these in 1973, 1979, 1990, 2008, and 2022. In each of these global price shocks, what we saw prices go way up, and then when the energy price shock went away, as it were, we saw prices come down. Today, we heard earlier that the president indicated that he was in negotiations with Iran with hopes of wrapping those negotiations up by week's end. Regardless, where we are today from the energy price shock is we've seen diesel costs up to about $5 a gallon. And when diesel costs go up, we see goods prices go up, we see trucking prices go up, we see supply chain costs go up, and honestly, we see our food prices go up. And that's what we're all experiencing at the food stores. I live here in the greater Washington, D.C. area. We're seeing that in our food stores in Northern Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. In terms of timing, how long will these prices stay elevated? The expectation is that if the best scenario happens, meaning the president and Iran reach an agreement, it could be 2 to 3 months that we'll start to see prices recede, and probably through the end of the year, we'll see prices return to where they were before the Iran war and the global energy price shock hit.
So, Dan, what we're saying is as long as this war is going on, can we just expect for prices to continue to rise? Because it just doesn't seem like there's any sort of turning point or any point where things are going to level off if the war continues.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. That is, for all of us, that is the worst case scenario.
Now, here I'm looking at, stocks rising after Trump calls off strikes on Iran's energy. If he does, let's just say that, he's doing a 5-day moratorium on that. If he does strike Iran's energy sources, what could happen to the price of our everyday groceries?
If he strikes Iran's energy sources, was that your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I believe that will cause further volatility in the market. I think you'll see prices of crude go well over $100. I think we'll see gas prices go up if that happens. I think we'll see diesel prices go up and food prices continue to rise. Now, on the other hand, essentially what we saw today is we saw the price per barrel of crude oil recede under $100. And I think that was very good news. But again, no formal deal or agreement has been reached.
Now, he's saying there's some very good talks, and that's why he's postponing any strikes on Iranian power plants for 5 days after some very good talks. I mean, what would it take, do you think, for things to calm down and for that to happen?
So I think the president has been clear from the beginning in wanting the immediate elimination of Iran's nuclear program. I think the president is also, and I know the president has wanted to severely limit Iran's ballistic missile program as well. So I think in agreement on those two things, and I think going beyond principle, I think those, in fact, would get to that agreement. And I think based on what the president said today in Memphis, he was encouraged, saying the Iranians wanted to talk. He indicated that his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Steve Witkoff were going to meet in Pakistan with Iranian officials and try and hammer out any details to this possible deal.
Yeah, and Dan, when you look at what President Trump has said and what has taken place, do you find it pretty ironic that days after it seemed as though the Israeli military and the U.S. military weren't on the same page, and the energy field was hit, and that was something that President Trump didn't know about. Now he's asking for all ceasefire on energy plants over the next 5 days because talks are going well. Is that just a coincidence that that's where he's deciding to focus his attention on, and specifically saying don't basically attack these places?
So I think what we know is that U.S. and Israeli military released a barrage of heaviest military fire in this effort. I think Tehran was in the dark last night, and I think there's a reality. There's a reality by the leaders in the Iranian government and the IRGC that their options are limited at this point. I think that's what brought them back to the table. Actually, they were never at the table. So I think there's that reality there. But I think as far as I can tell, other than that oil field incident, the president made himself explicitly clear with Mr. Netanyahu saying we're not going to do that again. And I think this has been a very well coordinated, other than that, military campaign. And I think the Iranians said there isn't much room for us to go here. Our runway is extremely short. They understood that additional military assets were due to arrive at the Gulf by the end of this week. And that there is no way, especially no way they can move forward, especially with other nations in the Gulf siding with the U.S. and the Israelis wanting Iran to back away from its nuclear ambitions.
He is Dan Varroney, economic strategist, author of Rethinking Economic Growth. Dan, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure. Have a good rest of your day.